Once again, this is the Way to a Wonderful Life, and our Way to a Wonderful Life message for today is titled, Become What You Believe. Become What You Believe. Now, a few weeks ago, I was reading this book titled Cherry by Nico Walker, and as I read the book, my mind kept pausing to think about the people described in the book and how each of them, and I mean all of them, could have benefited by understanding the inner workings of their mind. The reason I believe that the best-selling book became a New York Times and Washington Post book review subject is due not only to the character of the author, but because of all the characters in the book. For me, the characterizations were a gold mine of realizing the expressive nature of the spirit in every individual. To say that all is consciousness is just a statement until we examine how consciousness expresses. So many of the men and women who are instrumental in the telling of this man's story give the reader an opportunity to see the myriad of desires and decisions that people make in their lives. Some are regretful, some are dreadful, but none are without room for growth and the opportunity for self-realization. And we're all looking for self-realization. It is easy to say that there is a law of attraction, a law of mind, a law of correspondence, a law of reciprocity, but until we experience these things, either in our own life experiences or in the lives of others, they are just words. Fortunately, books like Cherry give us the opportunity to see into other people's lives experiences some of that which is within our own so that we can own up to those negative things in our own belief system without the weak defenses of blame or denial. By the way, I would not recommend this book to anyone. I really wanted to like it, as I like to support the first book of new authors, but it is not a good read at all. Actually, it was very tedious. And unless you want to really get into a life that probably none of us would ever want to live and understand it, this is not your book. This is a good book for me to understand consciousness in a greater way, because I would never come into contact with these types of people, but it was a pretty awful book. So I don't recommend people running out and buying this book. Find another way to realize the consciousness of other people. So let's go to someone who really does have some important words, and that's Mildred Mann. Mildred Mann was one of the most authentic and practical teachers of spiritual metaphysics, sometimes referred to as New Thought and other labels, but the labels of metaphysics did not disturb her as much as the idea that some people would waver from teaching the absolute of metaphysics and teach nonsense, New Age trivialities, and might make people enthusiastic in the moment before falling prey soon after in deep depression when nothing of consequence changed in their lives. Like the great Ernest Holmes, Mildred Mann believed that metaphysics must be taught in the form that is the truth of it. In other words, simple. Simple. It's a simple teaching. Just as Jesus said, it's done unto you as you believe. That's simple. She taught that the way was extremely simple, but definitely not easy. Very few teachers were more controversial and as outspoken as she was. The following are her 7 steps in demonstration, or as I would like to say, the 7 steps we need to master in order to realize the good that we desire. Number 1 is desire. Get a strong enthusiasm for that which you want in your life. Get a strong enthusiasm and a real longing for something which is not there now. Number 2 is decision. Know definitely what it is that you want, what it is that you want to do or want to have or want to be, and be willing to pay in spiritual value. Number 3 is to ask. When sure and enthusiastic, ask for it in simple, concise language. Ask. Ask means to claim in the scriptures. Believe is number 4. Believe in the accomplishment with strong faith, consciously and subconsciously, registered in your mind so firmly that it conditions your mind to the deepest level of your mind. Number 5 is work. Work at it. A few minutes daily, seeing yourself in the finished picture. Never outline details, but rather see yourself enjoying the particular thing. Number 6 is feel gratitude. Always remember to say thank you, God, and begin to feel the gratitude in your heart. The most powerful prayer we can ever make is those 3 words, thank you, God, provided we really mean it and we really feel it. Number 7 is feel expectancy. Train yourself to live in a state of happy expectancy. Act it until it becomes part of you, as it must and will. Remember, we don't get what we want, we get what we expect. We don't get what we want, we get what we expect. So we must feel expectancy. Now these are the 7 steps. If we follow them, they will bring you or me, whoever, whatever it is that we need. She summarizes, drop the problem, turn to God, and ask and claim your good. Ask and claim your good. Drop the problem, turn to God, and ask and claim your good. Stay tuned, or stay turned in that direction, and you will have the secret of effective prayer. Drop the problem, turn to God, ask and claim your good. She concludes the book with several points to remember and think about. She tells us, you are, I am, we all are divine spirit. We are a part of God. Just as we read in the book of Genesis, that God has created us in God's own image and likeness. So we know that image and likeness is not physical, so we don't all look the same, but we know that we're spirit, inhabiting a human form. So you are a part of God. You have been given complete dominion over your life. With God, all things are possible. You are never alone, for God is always with you. Just as the air that we breathe is always around us. We can't photograph it. We can't really see it. But the Spirit of God is just as close to us, always present, closer to us than breathing. So be positive in thought and word and deed. Live up to the highest you know in all things. See the presence of God in your fellow man or woman, particularly when you do not like either one of them, or either him or her. Give something of yourself in everything you do and to everyone you meet, particularly when you do not feel like it, and meditate daily. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. We read in the book of Isaiah 30:15. And we know that we are commanded to understand and to realize, to be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. I am is the name of God. I am, that great I am. So let's train ourselves to think positively and constructively. Let's take any particular problem we have in our life and face up to it. Don't deny that it exists, because it does and has. Through the substance of our own thought, we have given it. We've let it be, so now let's decide we're going to change it. We're going to change it. We're going to put that problem out of our mind. We're going to refuse to nourish it with our thoughts, and we're going to let ourselves realize that it's but a shadow, because behind it lies the perfect pattern given to us by God. Let's make our mind dwell on the goodness, on the good, on the fact that God is always present, that no matter what it is that we're looking at, if we look through the appearance, we will see the thing that is divine. We will see the thing that is truly good. There's good in everything, because God is in everything, no matter how horrible it may appear to be from the human eye. So let's make our mind dwell on that. Let our thoughts slip. If our thought slips back to worry or fear, pull it back to positive thinking and stick to it. This is the place where willpower comes in, and it takes willpower in the beginning. Remind yourself that you are a part of God. You are life. You are alive. God is life. You are a part of life, so you're a part of God. Within you and me and everyone is locked the perfection of divinity. And only you and I and everyone can open it ourselves, because no one can think for you. No one can do that for you. No one can turn the key by turning your thought, and you can only keep the door open in your consciousness by keeping your thought turned in the direction of positive, constructive thinking. Now, we have discovered the true function of our conscious mind, which is to act as a monitor of our thoughts, act as a monitor of our words, and act as a monitor of our actions. That is, in the analyzing, dissecting part of the mind. Through it, we can choose to think whatever we want, and needless to say, we can refuse to think what we don't want. But these thoughts alone will not demonstrate. Thought must be imbued with the feeling before it manifests. And by now we know that the subconscious is that which we carry around with us, that it is cause, and you and me, our life and our body are the effect. We see the results, or we measure the results by ourselves. Actually, we are our own lives and create the things that happen to us. Our health, our relations with other people, and our finances, these are the three big factors of life, and they are the results that we see. These are the measurements. We have seen how we can change this pattern by working through the conscious mind and the subconscious. Remember always that we cannot approach the subconscious directly. We have to coach it a bit. In other words, we have to condition our mind, but let's never negate it. Let's never deny that we have the power. We have the intelligence. We are part of the Spirit's dust. And let's know that it does not do any good to get angry with ourselves or to blame ourselves or to feel guilty. That's all wasted human energy. It has nothing to do with our spirit. It's a complete waste of time. So let's allow ourselves to condition our mind towards the good. The indirect, effortless approach is the basis of all metaphysics. In fact, it is the basis of any type of therapy that will change anyone's life. The more we force, the less we will achieve. As the Mastermind Jesus said, resist not evil. Resist not evil. Resist not evil. He probably said that about religion. Resist not religion. It's evil. In metaphysics, we have a most beautiful and expressive term for it. We call it effortless effort. So let go and let God. Let go. The more we let go, the more effort we can pack into it. We correct the mentality. We can begin to imprint a new picture in our mind. We can begin to change our thinking habits, and through that, our feeling habits. We can begin to build a new pattern, and that pattern grows. What we think on grows. What we think on grows. So what it is that you believe about yourself, bring it up to the highest thought you can believe about yourself. Believe that you can become what you believe. Say it to yourself. I can become what I believe myself to be. But what have I been believing myself to be? Have I been believing myself to be someone who's powerful, someone who's decisive, someone who's expecting the good in life, or am I believing myself to be someone who's always on the outside, looking into the good, looking at someone else enjoying the good life, the wonderful life, the joyful life? Which one is it? So many people go around blaming other people, shaming other people because they have something that they don't have. Let's let go of all that nonsense. Let the religious people deal with that. So let's correct the mentality. Let's begin to imprint a new image of ourselves in our mind. Let's begin to change our thinking and think only towards the good. As Dr. Norman Vincent Peale would say, let's displace those old thoughts, ideas, and words of negativity with the new thought, the new idea, the new spiritual image of ourselves, the new feeling of being in the Spirit and enjoying this thing called life in the most wonderful way. So let's have a clear mind. Let's have a clear mind. Let's know and let's believe and let's accept that every one of us must follow something greater in our mind if we're going to allow ourselves to grow into that something greater. Let's look at the ancient wisdom in the book of James 11:26. Faith without works is dead, he tells us. Faith without works. And I would say work without faith is dead. Without faith, nothing will work. Work without faith is dead because without faith, nothing will work. We must have the faith. It's done unto us. It's done unto us as we believe, as a man thinketh. We can read in the ancient wisdom, as a man thinketh, so is he. So is he. We cannot possibly do anything unless we have faith. We do not care what your religion may be. I don't care what your religion may be. or if you have no religion, which I believe is better, or what manner of belief you may have. You have to believe in something. There is not a human being alive who has not a belief. We either believe, people say, oh, I don't believe there's a God. Well, that's belief. That's belief. You may not understand it, you may not even know it, but that's a belief. Such people believe in materialism. So what? Some people do. They believe in a physical awareness. Let them believe it. They believe in a bank account and so on, and all the way down the scale. They believe that if they surround themselves with powerful and rich people, that'll make them powerful and rich. Generally, that just makes them a servant. A servant. But too many people believe in what they can see. If I can see it, I can believe it, they will tell you. But faith is confidence in an idea. Faith is confidence in the unseen. Faith is confidence that faith is the evidence of things not seen. Faith is one of the most important aspects of life. We know that there is not a soul in the world who does not have some sort of faith, positive or negative, so we know they have it. The thing that is interesting to watch is the way they cling to it. They hang on to it even when it is a faith and a negative idea or a very negative person that even wrecks their own lives. How many people vote for things that's against their own good? How many people vote for people who do things against their own good? We live in a twisted world sometimes. You follow the news too much. Don't follow it too much. It'll give you a headache. It'll make you frustrated. It'll cause you to cease to believe firmly and absolutely in the goodness of God. So don't follow it too much. Show me your faith and I will show you what you believe in, what you instinctively do, your little idiosyncrasies. We so often hear people say, I can't drink coffee at night, it will keep me awake. Actually, coffee will never keep you awake, but your faith in the idea will. Your faith in the idea will. It's the truth. When you have faith in a thing, you will reproduce the thing itself. Very often, if you sit down to analyze what you're placing your faith in, you will find out how perfectly ridiculous some of it is, how perfectly absurd from every point of view. I definitely have that happen in my life. When I analyze, examine my thoughts, examine my beliefs, examine what I consider to be true throughout my life. It's like when I was reading that book, Cherry, I thought, my goodness, how could these people feel so badly about themselves, that they would destroy themselves with drugs and destroy themselves with alcohol and all kinds of degenerative things in their lives. It's terrible. That's why I don't recommend the book. So faith is your lifeline. That is about the clearest way I can say it. When we go to the beach, if we are not a good swimmer, we hang on to the life ropes and they hold us up. In the same way, we hang on to faith. That is the positive faith that will bear us through everything that happens to us. Everything. Oddly enough, faith is not what we call a dynamic impetus. Certainly it is not static, but when we speak of things having action, faith has no action itself. It is like life. You do not live for a time. You always are, and faith always is. We may have faith in something, and for a moment it seems to evaporate. But the interesting thing is that when we withdraw it from one thing, it will pop up in another. Did you ever notice that? Faith will move from one thing to another. Faith is a belief, a confidence and feeling, almost a knowing beyond reason at times. There isn't a thing in the world that has ever been done. There is not a thing in the world that ever will be done that first is not a thought or an idea, and faith in a thought or an idea. If an architect builds a skyscraper, he must first have the idea of the type of building, then draw the blueprint before it can be constructed. But he had to have the idea first, and the idea is what comes into effect. Before we can become what we believe, we must first have the idea of what we are becoming. What are we becoming? And we must be extraordinarily enthusiastic about it. Extraordinarily enthusiastic about it. We cannot merely desire it. We cannot merely want it. We cannot merely expect it. We must have a burning desire with a heightened expectation to be here. That's why these seven wonderful ideas that Mildred Mann gave us are so important. She says, these are the 7 steps in demonstration, she says, or as I would say, the 7 steps we need to master in order to realize the good that we desire. To realize the good that we desire. So if you've got a pen and paper handy, write these down. If not, soon enough, hopefully, I'll get this message on YouTube and you can listen to it and write them down. But number one is desire. Get a strong enthusiasm for that which you want in your life. A real longing for something which is not there now. What is it that you don't have in your life that would make your life more wonderful? What is it that would make you so excited to get up in the morning and start a new day? What is it? What is it going on? Is it a marriage? Is it somebody? Are you longing to be married? Do you have an enthusiasm for marriage? Are you looking for success in your career? Are you looking for promotion? You get that promotion that's going to make you want to jump out of bed in the morning? What is it that's going to make you want to jump out of bed in the morning and say, this is a new day. This is the day the Lord hath made, and I am grateful and happy. I'm glad to be in it. What is it? So desire is number one. Number 2 is decision. There's a power in decision. We must know that. Know definitely what it is that you want. What it is that you want to do or to have, and be willing to pay in spiritual value. Dr. O.C. Smith's final prayer meditation that he wrote before he passed from this life into his new adventure on the other side, he wrote, I believe in my prayer and the answer to it. Well, if there's an answer to it, then there must be something that you decided on having. There must be something that you decided on doing. There must be something that you decided on becoming for it to be a result. So know definitely what it is that you want and what it is that you want to do, to be, or to have, and be willing to pay in spiritual values. That means to turn from the negative to the good, displace the old ideas, the old, I can't be this, or I'm limited, or I don't have the money, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. Let all that go. Number 3 is to ask. And we know when Jesus said, ask and you shall receive, he meant claim it. In the Aramaic language of Jesus, he said claim it. Claim it. Claim what it is that you want. Be sure that you want it. And be enthusiastic about it. If you're not enthusiastic about it, then you really don't want it. So ask for it in simple, concise language. You want a new car? I want a new car. I want a new car. I don't have to say, what is the new car I want? It's got to be this. It's got to be that. Get an idea of yourself being in a new car. And see what happens. See what comes to you. Number 4 is believe. Believe in the accomplishment of what it is that you want with strong faith. Consciously and subconsciously, and that means you must condition your mind. Condition your mind to accept it. Condition your mind to see yourself having it. See yourself being it. See yourself doing it. Then number 5 is to work. Work at it. Work at it. A few minutes every day. Sit down. See yourself in the finished picture. Excuse me. Goodness. A few minutes daily. Seeing yourself in the finished picture. Never outline details, but rather see yourself enjoying the particular thing. Number 6, feel gratitude. Feel gratitude. Always remember to say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. When you say thank you, God, what are you thanking? Thanking the God in you. That part of God in you that gave you the idea. That part of God in you that gave you the desire. That part of God in you that gave you the intelligence to make a decision. That God in you that could make a choice and ask for what it is that you are to receive. Number 7 is feel the expectancy. And I can't tell you how truthful this is, how absolute this is in any greater, more firm language. We don't get what we want, we get what we expect, so feel the expectancy. Train yourself to live in a state of happy, joyful expectancy. Let yourself feel it. Nobody else is going to know what you're feeling, you're expecting. Nobody else is going to know what's going on in your mind. Nobody else is going to know what's going on in your heart. Nobody else is going to know what puts that smile on your face all of a sudden because you had this idea move through your mind in a greater way. So act it. You don't have it? Act like you have it. In your mind. Act like you have. You're doing it in your mind. Act like you're being it in your mind. Act it in your mind until you feel the energy of it, until you feel the enthusiasm of it. Because if you're not enthusiastic about it, it's not going to come to you. It's not. It's done unto us as we believe. But if we are believing in something, then we got to expect it. We got to expect it. You say, I believe that I'm going to win the lottery, but I don't buy a lottery ticket. Well, what in the heaven are you expecting to happen? So we got to expect it. Each and every one of us. We have the ability within us to believe. We have the ability within us to have the great faith that moves those things through our mind. Jesus said, if we had the faith the size of a mustard seed, in his time, in his era, they believed that the mustard seed was the smallest seed on earth. But it wasn't. But then where he was, and in the knowledge of people during that era, it was. So he's saying that you have even the faith of the smallest seed, the mustard seed, and you want to tell that mountain to move into the sea, you can do it. But he wasn't telling us to put mountains into the sea or even to throw rocks into the water. He was telling us to believe in something so powerfully, so enthusiastically, that that energy of spirit within us, that spirit of God within us, that spirit of God's intelligence, God's power, God's love for us, will move it, will draw it to us in the most wonderful and beautiful way. So let it go. Let it go in your mind. Let it go. Let God work through you, as you, and for you, and know that you are a part of God. You're a part of the divine idea to live life, the good life, the joyful life. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again because I can't say it often enough. Life is not a test. Life is not a test. Life is a gift. So start feeling gifted every day. Take the time to be still and know that you are gifted, that you are gifted. To become what you believe.